What's going on, guys? Gio with Level Up Design here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Appreciate all for tuning in. Today we're actually going to go through a multi-part series. Something that's a big part of, obviously, I feel a lot of people and probably AAA companies do for sure, is sit down and basically go through the process of, all right, we're gonna make something. How do we start, right? And this might apply to you. You want to start making a game, or you want to start doing a level for X reason. This is going to be a really great video series for you, and that is pre-production. So pre-production is basically the kind of like the steps that you would go through when you are intending on making something, right? In this case, obviously, you're talking about making a game, making a standalone level, whether it's environment artist, show out an area, or an actual gameplay with interactions, everything, right? It's going to be multi-part again, like I said. We're actually going to go into the first part of this now, and hopefully if you guys are enjoying it, definitely please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I do usually put videos every Tuesday and Thursday, but nonetheless, let's go ahead into the first topic right now. Cool. So we're going to use just basically a blank little Google Doc page just to kind of get everything organized. We're going to do all this pretty much all in one, in one actual document, right? So we kind of see how the motion would be when you, or maybe your team, or somebody else is looking to get started on something, right? So I'm going to go through all these lists now. We're going to go more in detail as this video and the other ones come out. But the first one, getting your ideas. You're going to want to get a setting, location, and theme, project purpose, features, references and research, story, objectives, obstacles, set pieces, focal points, top-down gameplay, visual development, and making lists. So we're going to start off with the first one, which is, I think, for the most part, if you are interested in making something, right, you're going to have this kind of already brewing, right, which is your ideas. So with ideas, it's just what you want to do, right? Like, what are you interested in making? And again, we're just going to kind of break it down like this, right? So ideas, it could be anything, a third-person shooter. Oh, not hashtag RD for shooter. Third-person shooter. If you wanted to make a adventure stealth game, that's another one. Let's do now a first person platformer. Sure, don't know if that's a thing, but hey, we can do it, right? It's just coming up with your ideas, whatever idea you have in mind. I'm just gonna go off with a basic one, and we'll do, I want to make a game where I can shoot enemies and get rewards for it. Whatever, right? And let's just say that's our idea. That's what we want to go with. That's what I'm passionate about, and that's what I really want to do, right? Which is great. So now that we have, again, ideas, an idea, we want to go ahead and start expanding on this, right? A lot of people like to start going right into the mechanics, right? All right, we're gonna have a gun, we're gonna have grenades, we're gonna have shooting, we're gonna have vehicles, we're gonna have open worlds. That's great and all. It's good to have that kind of as a list so you can refer to it. But realistically, what you want to have to do now is, where is this being taken place, right? You can come up with all the stuff and like the core elements of it, which is fine and dandy at all, but if we don't know where it's going to take place, how can we really start visualizing it so we can start prototyping it, right? And that's when we're going to go into the next section, right, which is the setting, the location, and theme. So again, just going based off of our kind of template here, we're going to go on setting. So a setting refers to like the starting point, right? A lot of people like to call it like environment setting, which is like where is it? It could be kind of broad, which is perfectly fine. I think that makes it a little easier. So if we're gonna have in a cave, we're gonna have it in a forest, we're gonna have it in a house or a neighborhood, we're gonna have it in a desert, stuff like that. Things that really like these, like setting, location, and theme is all, imagine like an overarching broad topic, and then we're narrowing it down to like finer details. So let's say for setting, I want to do a desert. We could keep it that way, just very simple. There is desert, and let's go into like the next part, right, which is the location. So where does this take place? Let me get rid of that. There you go. So location is a specific like area within your setting, right? So in this case, I say we have a desert, right? We're gonna do the Sahara Desert. Cool. Or we want to do maybe somewhere more specific, let's say, I don't know, the city within it. So let's just name it. Oh, you know what? Funny enough, Gerudo Valley, right? That's where we want to be. We're gonna be in a desert, and within a desert, it's a specific city, right? That we want to focus on. So now, once we have a setting and location, what's the theme of it? So theme is just the type of experience, right? Or the type of game that we're gonna have, and that could be a lot of things. That could be, like a supernatural theme. It could be in the crack of dawn. It could be within a typhoon. It could be in the 1960s, right? Whatever we want to do here, that's what we kind of want to start picturing. Because now we know that, all right, we're in a desert. We're going to be in the Gerudo Valley within a desert. So what type of theme do you want to go for? Let's go for, I think that'd be pretty interesting to see. Supernatural, and we could just list out a couple of them too. Supernatural, or let's say supernatural post-apocalyptic, right? Post-apocalyptic. Oops, there we go. Cool. So that's like the first thing you want to start out, right? Getting your idea. Write that down, and if there's multiple ideas, right, you're not too sure where you want to go, what type of scope you may have to work with, budget obviously, what the time frame is you want to actually start working on this, or to complete it, let me say that instead. So those are things to actually hash out. If you have a team, then you obviously want to coordinate that with your team and see what is realistic for them to do, who could accomplish what goals, etc. And then after you get that set up, and all right, we're going to focus on this one, is getting the next part, setting, location, and the theme. Once you have those set up, then we actually go into the next part, which I'm going to separate into it now, because it's a little more detailed in there, so we'll look at that right now. Cool. Didn't really add much, honestly, just organized a little bit. But what I wanted to really just focus on is what the next part is. And there's another part to it too, but it's a project purpose, right? So project purpose is referring to like what are you trying to do, right? And things to kind of keep in mind with this project is like, why are you making this level? What's your end goal for this level? What are you trying to accomplish from it? What are you aiming for your audience? Maybe even like what is you trying to get out of this, right? When you finish creating it. And that could be like different things, right? So a simple way of saying it, you just want to make an environment, right? You want to make an area to show off your, let's say open world skills, right? Open world composition skills. Cool, that's fine. You can even go that you just want to win a contest, right? Or you could even say that you want to give an irrational fear to pufferfish, right? That's why you want to make this level. But just in case, right? Just kind of things to keep in mind with that. So you're trying to figure out what you really want to try and get from this design, right? What are you really wanting to accomplish, either for yourself, which is obviously an ideal goal, and for the audience. If you're making the game, right, what do you want them to get out of it? Do you want them to feel rewarded? Do you want them to feel, feel irritated? If you're playing like Up, I think it's called, or Don't Look Down, I forget what it's called now. But you get frustrated playing that when you get super high and you happen to fall off, right? That's kind of like it's weird emotion to evoke to your audience, but people go and play it because they're trying to beat it, right? Get the world record, whatever. The next part we're going to go into is actually a really big one, and I mentioned this in some previous videos and on my live stream too, but that is going towards the design pillar. So let's check that out now. Sweet. Add a little more detail now to kind of be able to share this, and I'll give you guys a link to this as well, so you guys can check it out. If you ever want to get your ball rolling with your idea, you have kind of somewhat of a template. It's not anything out of this world, but it's just better to have a starting point than not, right? But a big part of this, and this ties into every game, you might not even realize it when playing it, but those are design pillars. Design pillars are, in their name, right, are the pillars that support the idea, game, environment, whatever you want to create, that everything ties into, right? And when I say everything ties into is if you are either introducing a mechanic, introducing an idea, play style, art style, whatever you're considering, you got to keep in mind with those design pillars, they all have to tie into that to make it work all right. Now, with design pillars, some games do have more than others. Usually the baseline is 2, but my sweet spot is 3. So that when you start like designing mechanics, right, and you're trying to say, oh man, we don't have enough time, budget, scope, whatever to make all of these. So how do we decide which ones are actually more meaningful to others? That's when you start using design pillars, right? If one mechanic that you're trying to introduce only hits 1 out of the 3 design pillars, but another one hits 2 out of 3 or all 3, then that other one needs to prioritize, and the other one can be put on the backlog, right? And if there's a lot of time for it later, you guys can revisit it, introduce it, create it, whatever. But usually those design pillars are a main thing that help keep the project organized and concise, right? Because you don't want to have a platformer game right out of nowhere have, you know, like a side-scroller platformer game, have a shooting element, or turn into zombie game mode, or go from, you know, like the typical side-scroller one to first person, right? So if that's your goal, it's cool, but if it doesn't tie into what you guys are your main core elements of the game, it may come off the logo out. Like, people will be like, wow, why is that being introduced, right? But it's always a deal to have, again, like I like to do 3, because, you know, sometimes you have 2 and maybe hit one or the other. It's kind of hard to make that judgment call if, all right, you know, these are both hitting 50% of our design pillars, now what do we do? And then it's kind of like you do a vote on it. You know, it could be biased decisions if somebody wants to do it, someone doesn't, whatever. But with having 3 of them at least, and more, you know, having more just kind of complicate things. You have 10 of them, it's hard. I don't think any game does that, but usually 3 is, for me, is a sweet spot. So, you know, 2 out of 3, you're good. We got to prioritize that. 1 out of 3 might be a little iffy. But you always have that in mind whenever you're making something, because it will eventually come up where things do get cut, right? That's kind of how the industry is. You could, I've had it before where I've created a whole world level experience, right? And in the end, it gets cut because we don't have enough time for the budget, enough time for or enough time within our scope, but there's no budget for it, or there's no, let's say, art assets or availability to finish it, right? So it just gets wiped off the board. It's unfortunate, but it's something that you guys, you know, you have to keep in mind when you're making something, right? Now, again, just want to kind of tie everything into the overview of this video, because this is the first one. Should be anywhere from like a 4 to 5 part series. I'm going over more in depth, more examples, and kind of showing a little more in that. But basically, for this video, what we focused on are like the first, like kind of like 3 steps. So just summarize that. 1, get your idea, right? You have your idea, write it down on paper, whatever it is you guys are looking to build, and you know, just start, you know, getting a list and focus on the one that you are most interested in. 2 is deciding on where does this take place, right? Which goes into the setting, the location, and the theme. So you're figuring out where is the environment starting point. We're going to figure out what within that starting point is the area going to be in. And then we're also getting a theme of the type of game, right? What are we playing? What are we building? So everybody could start working on getting their assets in line, start getting references, whatever. Then we're going to go into the project purpose, right? So why are you making this? What's your end goal from this to present either to your audience, for yourself, whatever the case may be. And then lastly, once we have that online, we can actually start working on getting like the next steps of, you know, organization of making the project, which are the design pillars, which is anywhere from 2 to 3, ideally 3 main pillars of the game that basically tie into, or that basically everything ties into, right? You know, if we're having a shooter, basic ones would be like kill enemies, get rewarded, get better loot, get better weapons, right? If a certain mechanic or something ties into that, great. If it doesn't, then maybe it gets cut. And hopefully it does help you guys out again in like the steps to making your idea come to life. Big part of it, first part of it, is taking the initiative, right? Getting, you know, ready and motivated to keep on doing it, and staying on it, and hopefully having these organizational tools to do that does help. Again, appreciate y'all for tuning in. I will be posting another video on this upcoming Thursday, and yeah, I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. You know, check out my Twitch as well, streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern. Posting videos again every Tuesday and Thursday. Like the channel, subscribe, and yeah, I'll definitely catch you on the next one. Have a good one.